Still, I'm the child of God. Looking, I'm in a child of God. I live a child of God. Still, I live a child of God.
Praise Jesus. Continue Maccabees. First Maccabees chapter 14. A tribute to Simon. Then in the 172nd year, King Demetrius gathered his troops and went into Media to enlist help for himself to wage war against Trypho. When Arsaces, Arsaces, king of Persia and Media, it'd be Media. I always going to have Media, learned that Demetrius had entered his borders. He sent one of his officers to capture him alive. So he set out and attacked the camp of Demetrius and captured him and brought him to Arsaces, who put him in prison. It's Arsaces, and I'm just like Aces, Arsaces. So who put him in prison? The land of Judah was peaceful all the days of Simon, and he sought the good of his nation, and his leadership and his glory pleased them all his days. Then all his glory he took Joppa for a harbour, and made an entrance to the islands of the sea. He enlarged his nation's borders and gained control of his country. He also gathered many captives and ruled Gazara and Bethzer and Citadel, and ruled Gazara and Bethzer and the Citadel. When he removed it from the uncleanliness, no one opposed him. They farmed their land in peace, and the land gave forth its produce, and the trees of the plain their fruit. Elders sat in the streets, talking together of good things, and the young men wore the glories and apparel of war. He supplied the cities with food and furnished them with weapons of defense. Until his fame spread to the ends of the earth, he established peace in the land, and Israel rejoiced with great delight. Each one sat under his vine and fig tree, and no one made them afraid. He caused war to cease in the land, and kings were defeated in those days. He fortified all the humble among his people. He demanded adherence to the law and removed all the lawless and evil men. He beautified the sanctuary and multiplied the vessels of the sanctuary. Alliance renewed with Rome and Sparta. When it was heard in Rome and as far away as Sparta that Jonathan had died, they were in great sorrow. But when they heard that his brother Simon had been made high priest in his place and was ruling over the land and the cities in it, they wrote to him on bronze plaques to renew the friendship and alliance they had built with him and with his brothers Judas and Jonathan. These tablets were read before all the people gathered in Jerusalem. This is a copy of the letters the Spartans sent. The leaders and the city of the Spartans to Simon, the high priest and the elders and the priests, to all the Jewish people, our brothers, greetings. The ambassadors who were sent by you to our people told us about your glory and honor, and we were overjoyed and the coming. So we recorded what was said by them in our public decrees as follows. Numenius, son of Antiochus, and Antipater, the son of Jason, ambassador of the Jews, came to renew their friendship with us. Our citizens were pleased to receive them honorably and to place a copy of their words in the public archives. So the people of Spartans might have a record of them. They also sent a copy of this to Simon the high priest. Later Simon dispatched Numenius to Rome with a large gold shield that weighed 1,000 minas to verify the alliance with them, a bronze plaque for Simon. The people heard these words and they said, "How can we show our gratitude to Simon and his sons? For he, his brothers, and his father's house stood strong and waged war with the enemies of Israel by themselves and secured her freedom." So they wrote these words on bronze tablets and put them on the pillars of Mount Zion. And this is a copy of what they wrote. On the 18th day of Elul, in the 172nd year, which is the third year of the great high priest Simon in the court of God's people, at the large gathering of the priests and people of the rulers of the nation and the elders of the land, the following was made known to us. Since there have often been wars in the country, Simon the son of Matthias, priest of the sons of Jorib, with his brothers placed themselves at risk and opposed their nations, adversaries, so their sanctuary and the law would be protected, and they honored their nation with great glory. Jonathan also rallied their nation, was made their high priest, and was brought before his people. When their adversaries chose to invade their country and seize their sanctuary, Simon set out to wage war for his country. He spent large amounts of his own money and supplied weapons to those soldiers in his nation's army and paid them wages. Thus he strengthened the cities of Judea and Bethzer on the boundary of Judea, where the weapons of the enemy were kept. And he established there a garrison of Jews. He also strengthened Joppa by the sea of Gazara on the boundary of Azotus, where the enemies had previously lived. He moved the Jews there and supplied them with whatever they needed for their welfare. When the people saw Simon's dependability and the glory he was committed to bring to his nation, they chose him as their ruler and high priest because he did all these things and because of the righteousness and good faith he kept towards his nation. In every way, he tried to honor his people under his rule. Everything he touched prospered, and he drove out the Gentiles from the land. The man in the city of David in Jerusalem had made a citadel for themselves, from which they went out and defiled the vicinity of the sanctuary and caused great harm to its purity. Then he settled Jews in it and strengthened it for the security of the country and the city and built up the walls of Jerusalem to greater heights. In light of these accomplishments, King Demetrius established him in the high priesthood. He also made him one of his friends and showed him great honor. For he heard the Jews were called friends, allies, and brothers by the Romans, and that they had received Simon's ambassadors with honor. Thus the Jews and the priests were pleased that Simon should be their ruler and high priest forever until the faithful prophet should arise. They were also pleased that he should be their governor and take responsibility for the sanctuary and chose workers to meet its needs and to look after the country, the weapons, and the fortresses. Indeed, they decided he should look after the sanctuary and be obeyed by all, that all the contracts of the nation should be drafted with his signature, and that he should be vested in purple and gold. None of the people or the priests were to be allowed to repeal any of these things or say anything in opposition to him or hold an assembly of the people without him, or be clothed in purple or wear a gold buckle. Anyone who should do anything contrary to these decisions or nullify any of them was to be held liable. All the people resolved that Simon should act according to these decisions. So Simon consented, agreeing to become high priest and to be the governor and ethnarch of the Jews and priest and the guardian of all. They commanded all that this decree be inscribed on bronze tablets and be put in a public place near the sanctuary. Copies were also placed in the treasury, acceptable to Simon and his sons. First Maccabees chapter 14. Do I do another one? Yeah, I'll do. There's not much. This is not the end of Maccabees, so I reckon I should finish it. All right, I'll do chapter 15. Antiochus the seventh seeks Simon help. It's in Roman numerals. A V with two, which is 7. Chapter 15. First Maccabees chapter 15. Then Antiochus, son of King Demetrius, sent a letter from the islands of the sea to Simon, the high priest and ethnarch of the Jews, and to all the nations. It contained the following: Antiochus, the king, to Simon, high priest of ethnarch and the nation of the Jews, greetings. Since certain troublemakers gain the mystery over the kingdom of our fathers, I wish to lay claim to the kingdom so I can establish it. As it was before, I have recruited a multitude of troops and prepared warships, multiple of troops and prepared warships. I plan to go throughout the nation, that I may pursue those who laid our country to ruin and desolated many of its cities. Now therefore I validate your tax, remission, which the kings before me forgave you, and whatever other payments they remitted to you. I also authorize you to make your own coinage as money for your nation and allow Jerusalem and the sanctuary to be free. All the weapons you prepared and the fortresses you built, which you seized, let them remain with you. Every money you owe the royal treasury, as well as future debts, let them be remitted from now on and for all time. As soon as we regain control of our kingdom, we will honor you and your nation and the temple with great glory, that your glory may be evident in all the earth. In the 174th year, King Antiochus went to the land of his fathers, and all his soldiers went with him. Few sided with Trypho. When Antiochus went after him, he fled to Dora by sea, for he knew that Cala- calamity, calamity, that'd be it, that he knew calamity had come up upon him. His armies deserted him. Then Antiochus set up camp opposite Dora with 120,000 fighting men and 8,000 cavalry. He encircled the city, and the ships joined the battle from the sea. So he pressed hard against the city by land and sea and did not allow anyone to leave or enter. The Jews received Rome's support. Then Numenius and his men came from Rome with letters to the kings and their countries, in which the following was contained: Lucius, the Roman consul, to Ptolemy, the king, greetings. The ambassadors of the Jews came to us as friends and allies to renew their long-standing friendship and alliance. They were sent from Simon the high priest and by the Jewish people, and brought a gold shield of 1,000 minas. Therefore it pleased us to write the kings and their countries, that they not seek to hurt them or wage war against them and their cities and country, or form alliances with those who fight them. It seems right to accept the shield from them. If therefore any troublemakers have escaped from their country to you, give them over to Simon the high priest, that he might prosecute them according to the law. The consul wrote identical letters to King Demetrius and the Attalus, Arathias, and Archaeus, and to all the nations, to Samsames and the Spartans and the Delos, Midos, Sion, Caria, Samos, Pamphylia, Lycia, Halicarnassus, Rhodes, Phaselis, Kos, Side, Arados, Gortynia, Cnidus, Cyprus, and Cyrene. They also sent a copy to Simon the high priest. Antiochus VII turns on Simon. Meanwhile, King Antiochus besieged Dora a second time, repeatedly launching his force against it and building engines of war. He put Trypho in confinement, so he could neither go out or go in. Then Simon sent Antiochus 2,000 chosen men and allies, along with silver, gold, and considerable weaponry. But Antiochus decided not to accept these things. He broke all the former agreements he had made with Simon, becoming estranged from him. Then he sent Athenobius, one of his friends, to confer with him, saying, "Control Joppa, Gazara, and the citadel in Jerusalem, that are cities of my kingdom. You desolated their territory and caused great damage in the land, and you rule over many places in my kingdom. Now therefore, give back the cities you took, and the taxes from the places you rule outside the boundaries of Judea. Otherwise, give me 500 talents of silver for them, as well as 500 talents more for the destruction you caused and for the tribute of the cities, or else we will wage war and defeat you." When Anthemius, the friend of the king, entered Jerusalem and saw the glory of Simon and the sideboard plated with gold and silver, a magnificent display, he stood amazed. Then he reported the words of the king to him. Thus Simon answered and said to him, "We have not taken any foreign land, nor have we captured foreign property, but only the inheritance of our fathers, which years ago was seized unjustly by our adversaries. But now that we have occasion, we are holding firmly to the inheritance of our fathers. And as for Joppa and Gazara, which you want their people, were causing great damage to our people and our country, for then we will give you 100 talents. Antinochus said, not a word in reply, but returned to the king in anger. When he relayed to him these words, plus Simon's splendor and everything he witnessed, the king was extremely enraged. Now Trypho had boarded a ship and escaped Orthosia. So the king made Sennadebius his commander in chief of the seacoast and gave him infantry, soldiers, and cavalry. He then ordered him to encamp opposite Judea, and further ordered him to build Kedron and strengthen its gates, and to wage war against the people. But the king himself pursued Trypho. When Sennabeus arrived in Jamnia, he began to harass the people. He also invaded Judea, took people captive, and killed them. Then he built up Kedron and stationed cavalry and soldiers there, so they could march through the roads of Judea, making roads as the king commanded him. First Maccabees chapter 15. First Maccabees chapter 16. Simon's son defeat Condibius. Then John travelled from Gazara and told his father Simon, damage Stendibius was inflicted. So Simon called his two oldest sons, Judas and John, and said to them, my brothers, and I and my father's house have fought Israel battles from our youth until this very day. Things have gone well for us so as to rescue Israel many times over. Now I have become old, and you by his mercy are men of maturity. Take over my position and my brother's role and go fight for our country, and may the help sent from heaven be yours. Thus John chose 20,000 fighting men and cavalry from the country. Together they marched towards Sendibius and encamped overnight in Median. They arose early, marching to the plain. Behold, a huge army was marching out to meet them, infantry and cavalry, and there was a stream between them. John and his army faced off against them, and when he saw that his troops were afraid to ford the stream, he crossed first. His soldiers saw him and crossed behind him. He then divided up the men, putting the cavalry in the middle of the infantry, for the enemy's cavalry was very large. When they sounded the trumpet, Sendibius and his army were routed, and numbers of them fell wounded. The rest of them fled into the fortress. Then Judas, the brother of John, was wounded, but John pursued them until Sendibius reached Kedron, where he had done construction. When they ran into the towers in the fields of Azotus, John sent them a fire, and roughly 2,000 of their men perished. Then he returned to Judea in peace. Now Ptolemy, the son of Abubas, had been made governor to rule over the plain of Jericho. He had large hoards of silver and gold, for he was the son-in-law of the high priest. He was optimistic and full of determination to seize control of the country. So he developed an evil strategy to seize Simon and his sons by trickery. Now Simon was paying a visit to the cities throughout the country, concentrating on their needs. So he went down to Jericho along with his sons Matthias and Judas in the 177th year, in the 11th month, the month of Shebat. The son of Abubas received them with deceit in the little fortress called Doth, which he had erected, and he gave them a grand feast, and hid them men there. So when Simon and his sons became drunk, Ptolemy and his soldiers emerged and grabbed their weapons. When they encountered Simon in the banquet hall, they murdered him, along with 2 sons and certain of his servants. Indeed, Ptolemy committed great treachery, returning evil for good. Ptolemy then drafted a report to the king about these things and asked that he might send him soldiers to help and to secure their country and cities. He also dispatched soldiers to Gazara to seize John, and sent letters to military tribunes to come to him, so he might give them silver, gold, and gifts. Then he sent others to capture Jerusalem and the Temple Hill. But somebody ran ahead and told John in Gazara that his father and his brothers had been killed, and that he sent men to kill you as well. When John heard this, he was deeply shocked. He captured the soldiers who came to crush him and killed them, for he discovered they were there to kill him. The rest of John's words and his war history and brave acts, which he did so courageously, plus the heightening of the walls which he built and his other accomplishments, behold, they are written in the book of his high priesthood from when he was first made high priest following his father. First Maccabees. All done. All done. Next one will be Second Maccabees. I'll start that another day. First Maccabees. All done. Yeah, next one will be Second Maccabees. Second Maccabees. The author is unknown, but it's certainly not an author of First Maccabees. It's not the same as First Maccabees. This author was most probably a Jew from Palestine who abbreviated them. Not Palestine. Palestine didn't exist. Abbreviated the summarized 5-volume work by Jason the Siren, 1932, who wrote in Greek. Date about 124 BC or later. The bulk of Jason's 5-volume work spans 180, 160 BC. Major theme: God takes care of the Jewish people by rewarding those who are faithful to the law and punishing evildoers. This is a story of the weak overcoming the mighty because they pray to God, trust in him, and obey his laws. The main character, Judas Maccabeus, brings deliverance to the persecuted Jewish community through his victories. Background: the story begins with 2 letters from Jerusalem to the Jews in Alexandria, Egypt, urging them to celebrate the rededication of the temple in Jerusalem, the feast of Hanukkah, and to resist the pagans. The author then proceeds to summarize the 5-volume work of Jason of Cyrene concerning the exploits of Judas Maccabeus and his family. That's Maccabees 2. I'll start that tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday. Good day. And that Maccabees 2 has 15 chapters, and then it'll be Maccabees 3, and that has... How many chapters does Maccabees 3 have? Get out of it, boy. Fly, go away. Maccabees 3 is a bit shorter. It's 7 chapters. Yeah, it'll fly. All right, let's do a psalm, eh? We'll do a psalm. What psalm? What's a good psalm? All right, what'll be fun? Psalm 39. I waited patiently for the Lord, and he heeded me, and he heard my supplication, and brought me up out of the miserable pit, and from mire clay, and he established my feet on a rock, and he kept straight my steps. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn to our God. Many will see and be afraid, and he shall hope in the Lord. Blessed is the man whose hope is the name of the Lord, and who did not look into vanities and false frenzies. Many, O Lord, my God, are the wonders you perform, and in your thoughts there is no one who shall be likened to you. I declare and said, they are multiplied beyond number. Sacrifice and offering you did not will, but a body you prepared for me, a whole burnt offering and a sin offering you did not require. Then I said, behold, I come. It is written of me in the volume of the book. I will to do your will, O my God, and your law in the midst of my heart. I proclaim righteousness in the great church. Behold, I shall not restrain my lips. O Lord, you know, I did not hide your righteousness in my heart. I declared your truth and your salvation. I did not hide your mercy and your truth from the great congregation. O Lord, do not remove your compassion from me. May your mercy and your truth take hold of me continually. For evils without number surrounded me. My transgressions overpowered me, and I could not see. They multiplied more than the hairs of my head, and my heart failed me. Be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me, O Lord. Give me heed to help me. May those who seek my soul to make away with it be disgraced and confounded together. May those who wish evil for me be turned back and disgraced. For those who say to me, well done, receive their shame immediately. May all who seek you, O Lord, rejoice exceedingly and be glad in you. And may those who love your salvation so continually, the Lord, be magnified. But I am poor and needy. The Lord will take care of me. You are my helper and my protector. O my God, do not delay. Psalm 39. Praise Jesus, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and Lord Jesus Christ. God bless.